when I look at the Bible and when I see God in the Old Testament, he destroys Sodom and Gomorrah, he destroys the earth with a flood, and then you compare that God with Jesus in the New Testament, this Jesus who's dining with sinners and he welcomes everyone. It almost seems like there's a big contrast between the God of the Old Testament and the God of the New Testament. Um, to that, you say what?
To that I say, we need to keep reading the scriptures. And as we look at the Old Testament, we see that there is a God who is constantly reaching out to his people. He's grieved to bring judgment upon people. He gives Sodom and Gomorrah the opportunity. If there are 10 righteous people, he will not send judgment. And, so Abraham was bargaining with God. What if there are 10 righteous people? And God said, if there are 10 righteous people in the city, I'm not going to destroy it. Didn't happen. So the flood, when God sends the flood, God is grieved. His heart is touched and affected by the sin that he sees. And so when we look at this situation, God is simply finishing what human beings have begun, the violence and the bloodshed and so forth, that God simply says, okay, that's enough. We're not going to have any more of this. And so God is bringing to a completion that which human beings have begun. And so in the same way as we see mercy, God showing mercy to the Ninevites. Jonah goes and preaches. He wants them destroyed, but Jonah is dismayed when God has compassion on them. And we read about the God who in Exodus 34, who is gracious and compassionate, slow to anger, and abounding in loving kindness. But it also adds that he will not leave the guilty unpunished. So we see in the Old Testament that there is this theme, this persistent theme of God's, even though Israel fails and God sends judgment, God continues to hang in there with Israel and to send prophets and to call them to repent and so forth. And then finally, it says, there was no remedy. There's no, that the Israelites are going to keep doing what they're doing, so they're going to go into exile. You get to the New Testament. Well, what does Jesus do? Yes, he sits with tax gatherers and sinners. He welcomes those, just like the Israelites welcomed Rahab into their midst. There were people from Shechem in Joshua chapter 8, these strangers who are part of Israel's covenant renewal ceremony. There are people who are welcomed into the midst of Israel. And so it's not as though God is excluding them, but also God is bringing judgment upon nations, in fact, even on Israel itself. But in the New Testament, we see Jesus, as I said, dining with tax gatherers and sinners, showing love, the love of the Father and so on. But Jesus also threatens judgment. He weeps over Jerusalem in chapter 23 of Matthew. But he also, in the next chapter, talks about the destruction of Jerusalem, that judgment is going to fall, that he is giving them an opportunity. And he says, how I long to gather you as a hen gathered her chicks, but you refused. So this is not, so you see both. And Paul says this in Romans 11:22. He says, behold then the kindness and severity of God. So God is both kind and severe. You see that in the Old Testament. You see it in the New Testament. Jesus drives out money changers from the temple. Jesus is one who says to those who are teaching falsehoods, false doctrine. In Revelation 2, for example, this false prophetess Jezebel, Jesus says, I will cast her on a bed of sickness. And he says to her followers, he says, I will strike them dead. That's Jesus speaking. In Jude 5, it says, Jesus, who delivered the Israelites from Egypt, destroyed those who did not believe. So Jesus uses the term Jesus in our best manuscripts. So this is Jesus who is both kind and loving, but also can be severe. As in the Chronicles of Narnia, it says Jesus is good, but he is not safe.
Do you feel unequipped to talk to your friends about Jesus? Do you want to know more about God and His Word? Are you struggling with sin? And do you desire to pursue a holy life? Then this channel is for you.